Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining. Sunil here. Can you hear me? Please confirm in the chat box. Thank you. Thank you very much for your confirmations. Thank you very much. So today we will be discussing one of the most important topic in AWS that's called as a load balancer. Definitely you will get a interview question on load balance. So let's stop the chat. Let us stop the chat so that we can focus on the training. Let us stop the chat so that we can focus on the training. Yes, perfect. So what's our plan for today's session? What's our plan for today's session? Our plan is to understand the concept of load balancer. We'll see practically how to create a load balancer and why should we attach EC2 machines to the load balancer. We'll be experiencing the concept of load balancer and we'll also simulate a failure scenario. So all these concepts will be very clear and very practical in this today's session. Okay. So before getting into practicals of today's session, as usual, we'll have some interaction with some of the participants. My dear friends, there are many participants raising their hands. So obviously, I hope you understand we cannot discuss with all the participants. I am randomly picking up some of the participants so that we can have an interaction. Starting with Vinay Kumar Patiwada. Hi Vinay, good evening. How are you doing? You are allowed to unmute now and talk. By default, you will be in mute, Vinay. You have to unmute and talk. Okay. Parvez Sheikh.
Hello.
Good evening, Parvez. How are you doing?
Yeah, fine, sir. I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you. So how is your AWS learning experience?
It's pretty good, sir.
Thank you.
Because last batch I have joined, but somewhat due to hospitalized, I missed the classes. So again, I joined today.
Perfect. Please
So
complete the complete course this particular
yeah,
batch.
sir. Yeah, in between this, I attended 3-4 interviews recently.
Okay.
Since from past 15 days, I am attending interview continuously. So I got an offer from Rapid IT Solution.
Very good. Congratulations first, Parvez.
Thank you, sir.
How many years of experience you have put it in your resume?
1.5 year only.
Okay. Did you learn DevOps also, or have you only learned AWS?
AWS only.
Okay. Very good. Very good. So offer is released?
Offer is released, but joining will be next week on Monday.
That's okay. That's okay. Share your interview experience. How was the technical questions? Is this training help you?
Yeah, it's good to hear that training. Apart from this, they have one more questions. They are arise from the HR. So they will continue as a training. Means they are not taken as a associate level. They will teach us a 3-month training period.
Okay.
After that, they will provide 4 lakh
That's
rupees.
okay. 4 lakhs is the package. That's okay, Parvez. You got the break which you're looking for. Am I right?
Right.
Congratulations. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your experience. Thank you very much.
You. Yeah.
All the best. So my dear friends, a lot of success stories we are getting. Okay. So some success stories are reported. Some success stories are not reported. Okay. So the success track is already defined. You have to learn AWS and then DevOps. Only AWS, Mr. This Parvez has got a lot of questions, a lot of interviews. If you mention both the skill sets in your resume, you have a lot of calls. Definitely on one interview or other, you'll crack it and you'll get into the job which you're looking for. Okay. So let's have a couple of more interactions. Sunny Talwar.
Hello.
Hi, Sunny. Good evening.
Yeah, hi, Sunil. Good evening. How are you?
I'm doing well. Happy to hear you, Sunny. Yes, you are from which location?
I'm basically from Punjab, but I'm working in Delhi.
Okay. Yes. So are you attending right from day one?
Yes. And I will continue the whole course.
How is your learning experience?
It's really great because I have experience of almost 10 years.
On which platform?
In SAP basis.
Wow, very good.
Yeah, and I have experience on Google Cloud as well, GCP.
Very good.
Okay. But right now I need to work on AWS.
Do you know there
So,
was a contract signed up? The SAP clients can move to AWS. Okay. Do you know
no,
that? Okay.
no,
So
I'm not
SAP
aware
can run
about
on
this.
SAP ERP can run on AWS. Suddenly look at
Yes,
this.
yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So
That's
they
what I
don't need
was.
to maintain on-premises infrastructure, Sunny. Okay.
Yes,
So as a database administrator, you don't need to have all your infrastructure. You can have it happily on AWS cloud. Okay.
exactly, exactly.
So
Yes, that's why. I mean, in which company I'm going to work,
mhm.
that is going to take their
Migrate
system
to
on
AWS.
AWS. Yes, yes,
It's a
yes.
good
So
opportunity, Sunny.
yes, yes. That's why I was looking for a platform. I tried to,
Mhm.
check courses on Udemy as well. But that those courses, when there is no one to interact with you, those
Mhm.
are not that much helpful. But
Yes. Okay.
from past 2-3 days, I'm
Mhm.
feeling
How do you
really
happen to
comfortable.
know about this training?
One of my friend, he suggested me
Through
as a
reference.
yes, 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 correct.
Okay. Thank you, Sunny. Here also, in fact, it's something similar to YouTube only because I cannot talk to all the participants, isn't it, Sunny?
But still,
But
you
this
take
is more.
questions.
Yeah, you're right. You can. It's like an interaction. Other participants can listen to the questions and
Yes.
most of the doubts from my side, I can promise that 80% of the doubts will be cleared automatically eventually one day or other. Okay, once you do
Exactly.
hands-on and once you explore yourself. Okay, so I
Yes, yes,
strongly
and
Sunny, I strongly give a strong foundation. Okay, from there you can
yes.
explore it and you can leverage your skills to any extent. Okay, thank
Yeah,
you,
last
Sunny.
but not the least, thanks to you. I know
Thank
that
you.
many of the participants will not be able to, tell you because they will not be unmuted. But
Yeah, you are right.
from everyone, I am saying thanks to you.
Thank you, Sunny. Thank you. This training is happening because of this through network only. Most of the time, it's through references only. Sunny. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Let's have final call. Let's have final call, and then we'll be getting into the today's session. Okay, Pavan Tiwari.
Hello.
Hi, Pavan.
Yeah, hi, good evening, sir. Hi.
How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. How are you, sir?
Doing well. Thank you, Pavan. Yes. Your questions,
Thank you,
please.
sir. So my question is, sir, in previous lecture, second lecture, we are working on EC2 instances. I created the EC2 instances. It is, once I stopped my instance and then start running instances, my public IP changed.
Changed. Public IPs are subjected to change. It's not guaranteed that you
Yeah.
get the same public IP. Okay, they are subjected to change. Pavan.
So
Okay.
suppose that if I'm hosting a site on a public IP, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, because I'm working with a Linux
If
administrator.
you don't want the IPs to change, you have to allocate elastic IP. Here it is called a static IP. Generally, it's called a static IP. When you allocate elastic IP, it will not change. Okay, Pavan?
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Perfect. We'll see it soon when you're learning about
Yes.
VPC. Okay?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Clear,
Thank you.
Pavan?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
thank you.
You know AWS or is the first time you're learning?
I'm first time is learning AWS because when I looking for a job, it's a more common question of you are working on AWS or not.
Especially
Because
Linux
I'm working,
administrators, Windows administrators,
yeah,
they're expected to learn
yeah.
cloud
I'm working
platform
on
at
Linux
least.
administrator, so I'm looking for change in DevOps and AWS. So
Yes,
that's why I'm
yes.
learning. Yeah.
Good, Pavan. I hope you'll have a successful
Thank.
journey. Okay.
Yeah,
Now, I can
definitely. Thank
have
you.
an interaction with respect to the concepts what we have discussed in the last class, Pavan.
Yes, yes, sir.
Pavan, can I talk to you with respect to the concepts what we have discussed in the last class?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So what did we discuss in the last class in the AWS cloud, on AWS cloud? On AWS cloud, we have created a Linux machine. Do you agree, Pavan?
Yes, sir. Linux machine.
Perfect. Okay. Not only creating a Linux machine, we are able to successfully connect to that Linux machine. Agree?
Yes, sir. Definitely, sir.
We have also learned how can we successfully connect a Linux machine using a terminal called as
Putty.
very good. Putty. And what port we have opened?
We have opened
SSH port. You're right.
Yes, sir.
Ports are point of communications. We have opened SSH port, and we have made it as a web server by installing HTTPD.
Yes, sir. HTTP.
Agree? And then we have created one web page, and then we have opened one more port also. What port we have opened? HTTP port we have opened. Okay, because browser communicates using HTTP ports. That's how we are able to express the concept of web server. Clear, Pavan? Clear? This is what
Yes,
we
sir.
have discussed in the last class. Do you agree with this?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Definitely.
So a web server will take the request. Let's say from my browser, I'm opening an IP address and I'm sending a request. In response, you get the web page. So that's concept web
Yes, sir.
server. Now every EC2 machine, this is not the EC2 machine which you created. This is for CMS batch. But the point is, every EC2 machine can withhold a specific amount of load. Every web server will have some threshold limit.
Yes,
Every web server will withhold a specific amount of load. Maybe at any given point of time, it may handle some 1,000 users, or so it may handle some 2,000 users, depending upon the hardware configuration. Pawan. The more the hardware configuration, the more processor, the more CPU, the more memory, it can handle more requests. But every EC2 machine will have a specific threshold limit, isn't it? Suddenly, when the traffic increases, Pawan, suddenly when traffic increases, obviously, because it cannot withhold that particular sudden surge in the traffic. So what happens? The web server will go down.
Down, sir.
Yeah, I'll give simple examples. Sometimes, do you remember in previous days when you want to try to book your train tickets using IRCTC, Tatkal tickets, isn't it?
Yes,
It
sir.
opens a morning at something at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock. There will be huge traffic in the IRCTC. Agree, Bhavan, isn't it? There will be downtime.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So this kind of sudden traffic will help will make the servers down. How do you overcome this sudden traffic increases? How do you overcome the downtime? By using the concept of load balancer. So what the load balancer will do, if one server is down, so automatically what it should do, we should be maintaining multiple servers. We will be maintaining multiple servers. So what we'll do, so as instead of completely diverting the traffic to one EC2 machine, what we'll be creating, Pawan, we will be creating multiple EC2 machines. Okay, so this is EC2 machine 1, and this is EC2 machine 2. And both the EC2 machines, what we do, we add one more layer called as a load balancer. So here we are using one more concept called as load balancer. Now, what the load balancer will do, if any user is accessing a request from a particular site, it can be IRCTC site, or it can be because of sometimes Amazon and Flipkart will do a lot of advertisements in the Diwali. Balancer will request the traffic. Yesterday, what we have done, we are directly sending the traffic to the EC2 machine. We are accessing the web server using the IP address of the EC2 machine, isn't it? Pawan? So here, what we'll do, we'll be using one more component called load balancer. The responsibility of the load balancer is to load balancer will accept the request, and then it will distribute the traffic to multiple EC2 machines. Rather than dumping the complete load to one EC2 machine, it will distribute the traffic to multiple EC2 machines, so that the traffic will be, the load will be distributed, and then we can avoid the downtime. Clear about the concept of load balancer, Pawan? So look at the technical definition of the term called load balancer. What AWS says about the concept of load balancer. Look at the statement. A load balancer will accept the traffic. Look at the diagram. Load balancer is accepting the traffic. Yesterday, directly EC2 machine is accepting the traffic. Now here, what we are doing, we are creating one more component called load balancer. Load balancer will take the traffic from the client. I again repeat, don't worry about the technical jargons. Clients are nothing but users like you and me who are accessing the site using Flipkart.com.
Yeah.
So don't worry about this technical jargons. Clients are nothing but users like you and me who are accessing the website using Flipkart.com or Amazon.com or Facebook.com. These are clients. So they will accept the traffic from the clients and routes the request to the EC2 instances. In this concept, these EC2 machines are also referred as targets. In this example, the term EC2 machines are also referred as targets. So load balancer will accept the traffic, and load balancer will distribute the traffic to the targets. That's the first responsibility. As the name suggests, balancing the load. Load balancer, as the name suggests in the interview, if they ask about load balancer, as the name suggests, immediately you can strike. It will help in balancing the load. There'll be multiple targets, and load balancer will distribute the targets to the traffic to the multiple targets, so that we can avoid the downtime. That's the first functionality. Load balancer is also having second functionality. My dear friends, generally many participants explain about the first functionality. It will distribute the load. That's it. You also should explain about the second functionality of the load balancer. Load balancer will also monitor the health of the target. Load balancer should also monitor the health of the target. Monitoring the health of the target is nothing but load balancer should verify, my dear EC2 machine 1, are you working correctly or not? My dear EC2 machine 2, are you correctly working or not? Do you have any issues? That's how monitoring the health. The second responsibility, load balancer, first responsibility is very obvious. The first responsibility is distributing the traffic. That's very clear. The second responsibility is, look at the load balancer should also monitor the health of the target and ensures that the traffic ensures that it routes the traffic only to the healthy targets. It should monitor whether the EC2 machines are healthy or not. If a load balancer detects as unhealthy because of some reason, because of any hardware failure or whatever could be the reason is, if load balancer identifies that this particular EC2 machine is not perfectly working, it's not healthy, load balancer should detect it and it should understand that this particular EC2 machine is not healthy. As this is not healthy, it should divert or it should distribute only to the healthy machines. It should not distribute to unhealthy targets. So the second responsibility of the load balancer is to monitor the health of the targets. The term targets refers to EC2 machines, my dear friends. First responsibility of the load balancer is distributing the traffic, as simple as that. The second responsibility of the load balancer is to monitor the health. Our load balancer should regularly monitor the health of the targets, whether the EC2 machines are perfectly responding or not. Because of any reason, if a particular EC2 machine is not responding, it will declare it as unhealthy and it will distribute only to the healthy traffic, so healthy targets, so that the user will get the page what they are looking for. So load balancer will detect it as unhealthy target, stops routing the traffic to that particular target. It will again resume the traffic when it is detected as healthy again. Assuming if this machine is again healthy again it starts sending the traffic. So that's how that's how the responsibility of the load balancer. So Pavan, what are the two responsibilities of the load balancer? First responsibility is distributing the traffic to the targets. Second responsibility is monitoring the health. We will be experiencing all this practically in today's session. So let's get into practicals. To work out with the practicals, it's a very simple step-by-step process. So first step, what we'll do, we'll create one EC2 machine. This is step one. What is the first step? We'll create one EC2 machine. We'll install a web package. We'll install HTTPD. It becomes a web server. We already have done it in the previous session. We'll be quickly doing this. Step two, what we'll be doing, we'll be creating one more EC2 machine. Minimum, to experience the concept of load balancer, minimum we should have two machines. Agree? To experience the concept of load balancer, my dear friends, minimum we should have two machines. You can have 3 machines, 4 machines also, but minimum we should have two machines. So step one, I'll create one EC2 machine. Step two, I'll create second EC2 machine. Step three, what I'll do, I'll create load balancer. Step three, what I'll do, I'll create load balancer. I'll attach the EC2 machines to the load balancer. Step three, I will create the load balancer and I will attach the EC2 machines to the load balancer. And step four, we will access the load balancer from our end user. We will be accessing the load balancer from our end user. We'll be experiencing how exactly load balancer is distributing the traffic. So it's a step-by-step process. I hope I'm very clear in explaining the job done by the load balancer. Load balancer will receive the traffic and distribute the traffic to the healthy targets. Load balancer should also monitor the health and make sure that the traffic is routed to healthy targets only. Let's proceed with the step-by-step process. We already have learned in the previous session, we already have learned how to create a EC2 machine, what port needs to be opened, and then what package needs to be installed. Obviously, we'll be installing HTTPD. So we'll be creating the first EC2 machine. So let's go ahead and create the first EC2 machine. We already know how to log into AWS. URL is aws.amazon.com. I already have logged into AWS. As you can see, right now I am in Mumbai data center. Let's go ahead and create new instance. Let's go ahead and create a new instance. Fine. When I'm creating an instance, how many port needs to be open? How many port needs to be open? SSH port I'll open, because in case if I want to connect using PuTTY and using do configurations, I'll be using SSH port. I'll also open HTTP port because the browser communicates using HTTP. 2 ports are opening. How do you open the ports? We already have discussed all these points. We open the ports using the security group. So I want to name before starting, I just want to look at this. Will be creating a Linux machine. I want to name the security group as security group can be anything. I'm naming it as Linux SG with today's date. What is today's date? Today's 29. This is the name of the security group. How many rules I'm opening? I'll be opening SSH rule by default will be opened. I'll be opening one more rule, that is HTTP. So step one, I'll be creating EC2 machine. After creating EC2 machine, I know how to convert the PEM file to PPK file, and I'll be connecting to that particular EC2 machine, and I'll be running these commands. First, I switch to root user. I will update the repository, install the HTTPD. I go to that particular HTML directory and I create a minimum one page. And then I'll start the HTTPD server and I do some configuration. So this is all we already have done it in the last session. So just within no time, we'll be completing this. So let's go ahead and create a new Linux machine. Launch instances, as usual, I'm going with Amazon Linux. Next. What type of instance? T2 micro instance is more than enough for us. Number of instances, how many instances? I want to go ahead with one instance to start with. This one instance comes with how much storage? 8 GB of storage. Next is security group. What ports will be open? SSH port is already open. I'll be opening one more port called HTTP port. I'll be opening HTTP port. What is the name of the security group? We already have taken a note of it. The name of the security group which we are planning to create in this example is Linux SG29. My dear friends, name can be anything. So I'm writing it as LINSG29. What ports I'm opening? SSH port and HTTP port. Review and launch. And when you click on launch, it will review the details. When you click on launch, it will ask you to create a new key pair. Yes, proceed creating a new key pair. Key pair name can be anything. What shall we have it? Okay, so let's name it as this is Linux machine, right? Linux KP29. Download the key pair. Where I want to download the key pair, anywhere you want to get download it. I want to download it in my desktop. I have created exclusive folder AWS batch 81. In this, I'm downloading a key pair. And you know, key pair is nothing but file with extension .pem. I have downloaded the key pair. Once the downloading is done, click on launch instances. Instances are now successfully launching. Scroll down, click on view instances. This is the first machine I have created. It just takes was less than a minute for the machine to get into starting state. We are done with creating EC2 machine. I have not installed any software inside it. I want to install that software. When I want to install the software, what I need to connect to this particular machine using Linux, and I need to run some commands. If you want to connect to Linux using putty, if you want to connect to that Linux machine, we will be using a terminal called as putty. But putty needs what file? Putty needs a PPK file. So what I'll do, I convert the PEM file to PPK file, isn't it? Pawan. Okay. Clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, let's proceed. So where is my PEM file? In my AWS batch 81 folder, this is the PEM file. Linux KP29 is my PEM file. So what I'll do, I will be using an application. What is that application? PuttyGen. Tiwari. PuttyGen is used to convert the PEM file to PPK file. So I'll be uploading the PEM file. Load. Desktop. AWS batch 81. Go all files. Linux kp29.pem. Okay, save private key. Yes. I can maintain same name. I can also maintain a different name. That's okay. But it's not a PEM file. I'm saving it as PPK file. Save. I have successfully converted PEM file to PPK file. As I have successfully converted to PEM file to PPK file, I can connect to that particular Linux machine using a terminal called as. I'm little fast because we already have discussed in this particular in the last session. I want to connect to this particular machine using putty. So click on select the machine one which you have created just now. Click on connect. Pick up user at DNS. Under SSH, under authentication. This is the PPK file. Yes, we have successfully connected. This is nothing special. We already have learned it in our last class. Hands-on is very important, not just attending the sessions. To get the best of the training, you need to do hands-on. You need to do practicals. So I have connected to Linux machine. It's an empty Linux. I want to convert into web server. So I'll be installing HTTPD. So let's do that. I have some set of commands. I don't need to explain these commands. We already have learned these commands in the last lesson. First step, what I need to do is to switch to root user. Update the repository. Install the required package. The package what I'm installing is HTTPD. Just a minute. It's updated. We should have minimum one file. So I'm going to HTML directory. In this HTML directory right now, it's empty. I'll be creating one file. What is that file I'm writing? Index.html. What is the content I'm writing? My Google -1. Let's create one minimum one web page. You can see the file has been created, and then start the HTTPD service. Very good. And then check config on to start it automatically whenever you restart the EC2 machine. That's it. So configuration of first step is done. We have created a Linux machine. We have installed HTTPD. It becomes a web server. And I have created one page. What is that content I'm writing in that page? My Google -1. So, and access the web server using the IP address, isn't it? Let's access the EC2 machine using the IP address. Select this EC2 machine, take the public IP and access it. You should able to get my Google one. This is what we have done it in the last session. So first step is done. We have successfully configured the first EC2 machine. Let's proceed creating the second EC2 machine. The way I create the second EC2 machine is a little bit different from the first approach. We need to have one more EC2 machine. I'll be creating one more EC2 machine. The approach in which I'll be creating the second EC2 machine is something different. I'll be introducing a concept called bootstrap scripts. I'll be introducing a concept called bootstrap scripts. Okay. So the way I create a second EC2 machine is different. Please observe the way we create a second EC2 machine. Let's go ahead. One more EC2 machine. Amazon launch instance. I go with same operating system, Amazon Linux. Instance type, okay, the T2 micro instance is only the type eligible for free tier. So let's go with T2 micro. Next. How many number of instances? I want to create one instance, so number of instances one, but very important point. Scroll down. Under step 3, scroll down. Under advanced details, can you see under advanced details, we have something called under advanced details, something called we have user data. Here, I write the scripts. The scripts what you mentioned here are called as bootstrap script. That means these commands will execute automatically when you start the EC2 machine. In the first EC2 machine, what I have done after creating, what did I do? In the first EC2 machine, after creating EC2 machine, I have connected to that particular EC2 machine using putty. And then how many commands I have executed? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, some set of commands, 6 to 7 commands I've executed using the putty. It's the same commands. I don't want to run it manually by connecting to putty. The same commands, look at this. Switching to user and update the repository, install HTTPD, going to HTML directory, creating index.html, starting the web server and HTTP on the same commands. You just need to prefix with /bin/bash. That means because these are bash commands, I copy these commands and I mention here in step 3 under user data. Under advanced details, whatever the commands you mention here, that gets executed automatically when the machine gets started. Clear? These are called as bootstrap scripts. Let's proceed. Perfect. So I don't need to connect to the Linux machine because I don't need to create it. And remember, the second machine, what is the content I'm writing? My Google -2. Wantedly, I'm writing a different content. The first machine, I'm writing the web page as my Google -1. In the second machine, I'm writing the content as my Google -2. Yes. And in the second machine also, I want to open the same ports. Agree or not? The same ports. Which port? The SSH port and HTTP port, which I have opened in the first EC2 machine. I want to open the same ports so I can reuse the security group. My dear friends, that's the beauty of security group. I can reuse the security group. Look at this. Next, storage comes with 8 GB of storage. Next, security group. Next, go to security group. Instead of creating a new security group, I can select an existing security group. Do you remember what's the name of the security group which we have created when creating the first EC2 mission? Yes, it is Linux SG29. So it's always good practice to provide a name to the security group so that you can refer it later. This is the name of the security group. I want to reuse it in the second EC2 mission. Select an existing security group. The name of the security group is Linux SG29. Yes, I'm reselecting the security group. You can also refer that security group is opening 2 ports. One is SSH port, the other one is HTTP port. Review and launch. Perfect. Click on launch. Create a new key pair. Linux KP29 is already done. I go with 30. I download the key pair. This is for the second EC2 machine. I'm downloading one more key pair in the same folder in the desktop, AWS batch 81. I'm saving that particular folder. And I downloaded my key pair. Click on launch instances. Click on view instances. Am I clear? This is my second mission. So in the second mission, I have used bootstrap scripts. Bootstrap scripts are nothing but set of commands. My dear friends, bootstrap scripts are nothing but set of commands that gets executed automatically when the mission gets started. Perfect. So we are done with step 1. The first EC2 mission is ready. We are done with step 2. The second EC2 mission is ready. Okay. And what's the next step? The next step is the most important one. That's how we will be. Next step is we'll be creating load balancer. Yes. Any questions? Varun GM.
Hello, Sunil.
Yes, Varun. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, sir. How about you?
Doing well. Thank you, Varun. Yes.
Yeah, thanks for giving this opportunity.
Thank
so
you,
just
Varun.
want to understand for the second machine, you have uploaded some keypad, right? PEM file, you downloaded that. So do we require to convert to PPK file?
PK file. When should we convert the PEM file to PPK file? When you are planning to connect using PuTTY.
Okay.
Why are we converting the PEM file to PPK file? Why are we converting the PEM file to PPK file? When you want to connect using PuTTY. Okay. Then we convert the PEM file to PPK file. I don't want to connect using PuTTY because already commands I have mentioned in the bootstrap scripts, isn't it? Isn't it, Varun? So I don't want to connect using PuTTY. In case if you want to connect, again, you have to convert the PEM file to PPK file. Clear?
Okay.
Varun?
Okay, sir. Okay.
If you want to connect using PuTTY, then only convert the PEM file to PPK file. Otherwise, it's not required.
Okay, sir. Okay, fine. I got that. Yeah.
Thank you, Varun. Jai Singh. Good morning, Jai. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Sunil. How are you doing?
Doing well, thank you. Yes, your question, please.
My question is like, in starting, you have given the name of security group, LSG29. Then
one minute. The name of the security group, what I have done is Linux
SG29.
This is for the first EC2 mission.
No. I'm specifically talking about second one.
In the second EC2 mission, what did I do?
Initially you choose that
existing security group I have used.
Right, and then you rename it.
I have not renamed it. Look at this. Look at this. For the second mission,
you downloaded the next security group pair with the.
That's a key pair. Key pair is different. Security group is different. Okay. For the second mission, look at this. Jai Singh. For the second mission, what is the key pair? If you want to verify the key pair, scroll down. If you want to verify the security group, there's an option. Sorry, 1 minute.
It was above line KP30 on the right hand side. Little bit more upward.
Yes.
Yes, it is there. Keep your name.
Okay, I have renamed it probably by mistake. Okay. What is the 1 minute? Let me open the security groups. I can anyways refer it here.
No, that's okay. My confusion was there. Like we have used existing one. Then why we again, downloading the next key pair? Can we use it?
No. Your question is related to key pair or security group?
See,
the question is related to key pair.
Initially, we have used same security group, right? Line SG21.
Yes.
Then while downloading the key pair, we have renamed it.
Yes, you can do that. I don't want to maintain the same key pair. You can see here for the sex. You can see here at the bottom line XKP29.pem is for the first EC2 mission, 30.pem for the second EC2 mission. Okay.
Okay. Now the question is, can we use same key pair
Same
for
mission.
both the
Yes,
instances?
you can do that. If you want, we can maintain same key pair for both the instances. Many times we do it. Okay.
Okay. One last
Just
thing.
for clarity purpose, I'm maintaining, because we are all learners. For clarity purpose, I'm maintaining different key pairs.
That's good. One last humble request. While giving this session, it would be, I mean, if it is possible, let us know how we can go for internship. It might be a little bit early, but it's a humble request, because after learning all these, which you are doing a tremendous job here, the most of the, I mean, since in first starting session, you told us like we have to create a fake experience of 2 or 3 years.
Two and a half
that
years.
is the stark reality. No one is going to entertain without that. So that's why I'm requesting you, if it is possible, you kindly let us know from where we can search for internship. If it is
any so already a couple of companies have approached us asking for AWS interns. Okay,
that's what
so
I'm
wherever we have
asking.
opportunity, we are emailing you, we are providing you the information in our Telegram group. Are you in a Telegram group, Jason?
No, sir, I'm not using.
Are you in our WhatsApp group?
Yes, I'm in WhatsApp group.
In the WhatsApp group description, we have Telegram group link. Please join the Telegram group to get the updates. Okay, we also send emails. Okay, so we'll also do that. Jay?
Okay, thank you.
We also are planning for project sessions also, Jay. Okay, we are planning for external experts, and we are calling, and we are also having project sessions. That's how we get more success stories. Okay.
Sure.
Most out of this, most important is hands-on. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Jay. So Jay, so what did we do? We are done with step 1. We have created one EC2 mission. We also are done with step 2, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's verify whether step 2 is perfectly working or not. How to verify whether the second mission is correctly working or not? Take the public IP of the EC2 mission, isn't it?
Yes.
And access it. And we should get my Google 2. Look at the content is different. My Google -2 for the first EC2 mission is my Google -1. Wantedly, I have made a second content as my Google -2. So both the EC2 missions are individually tested and they're perfectly working fine. Am I right, Jason?
Yes.
Let's proceed
100%.
with the most important component. Let's proceed with the most important component. That's called load balancer. Let's go with creating a load balancer. When you're creating a load balancer, we should provide a name to the load balancer. Okay, I won't name it as my LB. Load balancer name can be anything. You can write your name also. I'm writing the load balancer name as my LB. Okay. So in the load balancer also, I use an existing security group Linux SG29. I want to open the same ports. Okay, so there's some options which are very, very important, which we are very frequently asked in the interview: response timeout, interval, unhealthy threshold, healthy threshold. Very guarantee asked interview question. Please focus on this component that is called as a load balancer. How to create a load balancer? In the EC2 dashboard, scroll down. Can you see here we have an option called load balancers. As you can see right now, we do not have load balancers. Okay, I want to create a new load balancer. Here we have an option of creating a new load balancer. There are different types of load balancers: application load balancer, network load balancer, gateway load balancer, as well as classic load balancer. I want to start with classic load balancer. I'm creating a classic load balancer. What is the name of the load balancer? We already have decided the name of the load balancer which you are planning to keep is my LB. That's it. Just provide the name of the load balancer. Look at this. It's 7-step process. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Look at the top. It's a 7-step process. Right now, I provided a name of the load balancer. Next. I will use an existing security group rather than creating a new security group. I use the same security group Linux SG29. I use a security group Linux SG29. Next. Click on next. This is configuring the load balance is very, very important. This is configuring health check. Try to understand. Pawan, can we have a talk with respect to this particular options? Pawan Tiwari. You are allowed to unmute.
Hello.
Yes, Pawan.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. Look at the first option, response timeout. What do you mean by response timeout? I already have mentioned the responsibility of the load balancer is first responsibility of the load balancer is distributing the traffic. Second responsibility of the load balancer is monitoring the health. Agree? Second responsibility of the load balancer is monitoring the health of the EC2 machines. Okay. How does load balancer will check whether the EC2 machine is working correctly or not? How does the load balancer will check whether the EC2 machine is working properly or not? By sending a ping request. In networking, whether is connection established or not, we do it by using ping, isn't it, Pawan?
Yes,
so load
yes,
balancer will send a ping request to the EC2 machine and expects for a reply. Agree? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Response timeout is nothing but how many seconds the load balancer should wait to get the reply. Response timeout is nothing but how many seconds the load balancer should wait to get the reply. I mentioned it as 2 seconds. So I am very clear in explaining the concept of response timeout. My load balancer will send a ping request. My load balancer will send a ping request and it should get a reply within how many seconds? 2 seconds. That's the response timeout. Next point. Interval. Like, what do you mean by interval? Interval, I mention it as 5 seconds. Interval, I mention it as 5 seconds. What do you mean by interval? As I mentioned, the load balancer should monitor the health of the EC2 machines. As I said, the load balancer should monitor the health of the EC2 machines. That's right. But how frequently it should check? Once in every 1 hour? How frequently load balancer should monitor the health? Once in every 1 hour? Once in every 30 minutes? Once in every 10 minutes? Or once in every 5 minutes? What is the frequency? That's called interval. I mentioned as interval as 5 seconds. Every 5 seconds, my load balancer will monitor whether the EC2 machines are perfectly working or not by sending a ping request. That's called as an interval period. Every 5 seconds, my load balancer will verify whether the EC2 machines are perfectly working or not. Okay, clear, Tiwari? Next option. Yes. Unhealthy threshold, I mentioned it as 2. Healthy threshold. First, let me explain about unhealthy threshold. Unhealthy threshold, I mentioned it as 2. What do you mean by unhealthy threshold? Look at this, Pawan. My load balancer will send a ping request. How many seconds it should wait? You have already mentioned the response timeout as. You already have mentioned response timeout as 2 seconds. So load balancer will wait for how many seconds? 2 seconds. Let's say after 2 seconds, the EC2 machine is not responding. Even after 2 seconds, the EC2 machine is not responding. So what does that mean, Tiwari? There's some problem in the EC2 machine. Agree?
Yes,
when there is some problem in the EC2 machine, what it should do? It should declare it as unhealthy. Because within 2 seconds, it should respond. If it is not responding, it should declare it as unhealthy. It should declare it as unhealthy. So before declaring it as unhealthy, it will give one more chance. How many attempts the load balancer should make before declaring it as unhealthy? Unhealthy threshold, I mentioned it as 2. 2 is nothing but it will give one more chance. One more time, it will send the. One more time, the load balancer will send the ping request. If second time also, if the EC2 machine is not responding, then it will declare it as. Unhealthy. Clear. Number of attempts the load balancer should perform before declaring an EC2 machine as unhealthy is 2. Okay. Healthy threshold. Healthy threshold, I write it as 2. What do you mean by healthy threshold? So let's say it is unhealthy. As an AWS engineer, you have identified that it is unhealthy. You have troubleshooted the problem. Now it is rectified. Once it is rectified, again load balance will send the ping request. Obviously, as the solution, as the problem is fixed, you will get the reply. The moment you reply, the moment EC2 machine replies, Should we declare it as healthy, or should we appear one? We should attempt one more time. It will attempt one more time. Second time also, if it is replying, then it will declare it as healthy back. Clear? So unhealthy threshold is nothing but number of attempts the load balancer should perform before declaring it as unhealthy. Unhealthy. Healthy threshold is nothing but number of attempts it should perform before declaring it as healthy again. Clear? Response timeout, interval, unhealthy threshold, and healthy threshold. My dear friends, clear? Clear about these points? Any question? Okay, I think everything is clear. Perfect. One small interaction. Balamurugan.
Hello, Sunil.
Yes, your question with respect
Sunil,
to these
can you
options.
Sunil, can you please once again, can you just explain
Repeat.
about the response timeout?
What is do you agree that the load balancer should monitor the health of the targets?
Yeah.
Okay. How does load balancer will monitor the health? By sending a
ping request.
Ping request. Okay.
Yeah.
So, Murugan. So this is let's say this is EC2 mission 1. This is EC2 mission 2. This is component of load balancer. So what load balancer will do? It will send a ping request.
Okay.
And what load balancer is expecting?
The
reply back.
Yeah.
So within how many minutes the load balancer how many seconds the load balancer should wait? 2 seconds. That's the importance of the first option. Response timeout. The waiting time. Should it wait for 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 1 second, 1 minute? What should be the waiting time? I'm mentioning waiting time as to within 2 seconds. EC2 mission should reply.
Oh, yeah.
That is response time. Clear?
Okay, got it.
What is interval?
Interval.
Frequency of checking. Every 5 seconds, it will check whether the EC2 missions are working or not. What is unhealthy threshold? Let's say what is unhealthy threshold? If the EC2 mission is not responding,
okay,
it will attempt one more time.
One more time, yeah.
Because you have mentioned number as 2, unhealthy threshold. Second time also, if it is not responding, okay, then it will declare it as unhealthy.
Unhealthy state, yeah.
What is healthy threshold?
It's same like 2 seconds.
We have troubleshooted the problem. Now the EC2 machine is working fine. So as usual, every 5 seconds it will send the request. So you get the reply. As the problem is fixed, you get the reply. First time it is replying, when immediately it will not declare it as healthy. As you have mentioned value as 2, it will again send the second time request. Second time also, if the EC2 machine is responding, okay, now the EC2 machine is very good. It will declare it as healthy back. Clear, Balamurugan? I am clear about providing all these values, explaining about the values of response timeout, interval, unhealthy threshold, as well as healthy threshold. Clear?
Yeah, I'm clear.
Yes.
Thank you.
Now, next, Balagum. Next, can we have a discussion, Balamurugan, in continuation to this example?
Yeah, please.
So can you see the next step? Add EC2 machines. How many EC2 machines you are planning to add to your load balancer?
2.
So go to option, and here you can see the EC2 machines which you have created. Okay. Yeah. Balamurugan, I'm attaching these 2 EC2 machines and click on next. Tags, you don't need to worry about the tags. Click on review. Review the details, whatever you have created, and click on create. We are done with successfully created a load balancer. So Balamurugan, what we have done? We have done with creating a load balancer. And how many EC2 machines you have attached to the load balancer? 2 EC2 machines we have attached to the load balancer. Clear, Balamurugan?
Yeah, I'm clear.
You know AWS before, it's the first time you're learning.
Yeah, this is the first time I'm just learning.
So how is your learning experience?
Yeah, it's very good. Actually, you're explaining.
I know your experience.
Yeah, I know right now how to do that.
No, may I know your work experience?
Work experience is 15 years of experience in storage platform.
SAN storage?
Yeah, SAN storage.
Oh, very good, very good. Every batch close to 100 people are from SAN storage. Balamurugan, do you believe it or not? Because storages are now going to cloud, isn't it? There's no hardware here. Agree?
Correct. Yeah, that's
correct. And as a storage administrators or SAN storage, we cannot go into developer track. Isn't it? After 15 years. So we have no other option. We need to get into operations team only. The best way is to leverage, upgrade our skills towards cloud and the DevOps if required.
DevOps,
perfect. So we are done. How many EC2 machines are attached to this load balancer, Bala? 2. If you want, we can verify it. You can see the instances tab. You can also see how many instances are attached to the EC2 machine. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I will Now the next thing is step 1 we have created EC2 machine. Step 2 we have created one more EC2 machine. Step 3 we have created load balancer. We have attached the EC2 machine. Now let's experience the load balancer. How do we experience the load balancer? Look, pick up the load balancer DNS name. Bala. Pick up the load balancer DNS name, and I'm not accessing the EC2 machine IP address. I'm directly accessing the load balancer component. What the load balancer? It will distribute the traffic to the EC2 machine.
Okay, EC2 machine. Okay.
What is you getting? My Google.
My
2.
Google one.
2 is nothing but it is traffic is diverted to second EC2 machine.
Okay. Yeah.
And you click on refresh 1. Now you're getting
1.
1.
Oh,
again
okay.
refresh 2.
So the response will go one by one. It will go first EC2 and it will
yes,
go
every traffic is diverted equally distributed because we don't want the complete load to be dumped to one particular EC2 machine, isn't it?
Okay,
So
okay,
load balancer, my Google want what? That's the reason. Wantedly, when I'm creating HTML pages, wantedly I have made different content. In the first EC2 machine, I have written -1. In the second EC2 machine, I have mentioned the content as -2, so that we can practically experience. If I both the machines, if I write my Google 1, we cannot practically experience it. Now you can clearly see how exactly load balancer is distributing the traffic to the EC2 machines. My dear friends, I'm sending the load balancer DNS name in my chat box. Pick up the load balancer DNS name in the chat box, Bala, and try to access my load balancer using the load balancer DNS name, which I just sent in the chat box. And please respond. Bala, please pick up it and tell me your experience. Are you able to get? Please try to copy it in your Google Chrome and are you experiencing the same?
It's loading now.
Are you experiencing type? Are you getting the? Are you excited with the result? If yes, please type yes in the chat box. My dear friends, that is the concept of load balancer. If anybody asks you about the load balancer, generally load balancer, don't say that just distributing the traffic. Most important than is monitoring the health. The load balancer should also monitor the health of the EC2 machine. Look at the responses. Okay, thank you very much for your responses. Thank you very much for your responses. Now look at the I'll simulate a failure scenario. Look at this. Hands-on is very, very important. Okay. So what I'll do, Bala, I will stop one EC2 machine.
Okay.
Wantedly, just to simulate a failure scenario. Okay, let's say I'm stopping the first EC2 machine. Okay.
Yeah.
As the load balancer responsibility is to monitor the health, as the first EC2 machine is turned off, it will send the ping request. Obviously, it will not get reply.
Okay.
Let's wait for the machine to get stopped. Let's wait for the machine to get stopped.
Okay.
Done. So load balancer will send a ping request to you. EC2 machine is stopped. It will not get replied. Load balancer will send the second request one more time because unhealthy threshold is 2. Second time also EC2 machine will not respond. Obviously, load balancer will declare it as unhealthy. And then the traffic is now diverted to only healthy machines. That is, even though we click on refresh now, I should get my Google 2 only. You will not get my Google 1 because my Google 1 is unhealthy. Clear about this?
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Bala. So the concept is, I hope you understood, as the first EC2 machine is unhealthy, even though you click on refresh, it will not get it. Because, and assuming in the users also, you're not, that's very important. If one machine is down, the advantage of load balancer is there's no downtime because other machines are anyways ready to take the load. Clear about this? And you can also see the status, and you can see the load. Go to load balancer dashboard. Go to load balancer dashboard, and you can see the number of EC2 machines which are attached in the instances tab. Machine 1 is out of service. You can also see which machines are in service and which machine is out of service. Now what I'll do, I will again start the EC2 machine. will take some time. So that's the beauty of load balancer. When I start the EC2 machine, it will take some time, and then load balancer will anyways the frequencies every 5 seconds. It will send the ping request. When the EC2 machine is perfectly working, again you get the responses. When it will declare it healthy back, again your load balancer will distribute it. So that's the beauty of load balancer. Your load balancer will now will perfectly behaves, and you can avoid downtime. The concept of cloud is availability, scalability, and pay as you go basis. These three terminologies will be available, you will be across the learning of AWS. Remember three concepts. Why are we learning all these components? Because client don't want any downtime. The client want applications to be 100% available, scalable, as well as pay only for the infrastructure what they are using. That's the beauty. Okay, so let's have a few more interactions with some of the other participants. Sindhu Priya. Good evening, Sindhu. How are you doing? You are now allowed to unmute and talk, Sindhu. Surya Bhimala. Good evening, Surya.
Hello.
Hi,
Yeah.
Surya. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. Yes, Surya. Question, please.
Yeah, actually, I have a question like when we get scenario, like when we lost one key pair, like how we get retrieve the.
There is an option. There is an option to recover a key pair. That's not at all a problem, Surya. There's a turnaround solution. Once I find time, I'll tell. So I'll tell you how can we recover the key pair. That's not a problem. Okay.
Okay, fine. Thanks.
Anything more?
No.
Clear about today's example, Surya? The concept of load balancer.
Yeah, everything is clear, Sunil.
Okay. So is this your day one or you're attending from the beginning?
No. This is my day 4. Actually, I'm attending from there since day 1.
Okay, good. How do you happen to know about this training?
Actually, I got my friends who is referred to me like their free session has been happened. So I got in entrance.
Okay, thank you, Surya.
Yeah, thank you, Sunil.
So I hope the EC2 machine is now fixed. The EC2 machine is running. Okay. So when I click on load balancer DS name, it should again distribute the traffic. It will take some time to revive. Yes, now Bala, we are getting my Google 1, my Google 2, isn't it? Isn't it? Again, my load balancer is started distributing the traffic to the healthy machines again. So detecting as healthy and healthy, we already have simulated failover scenarios, isn't it? Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. My dear friends, did we meet our agenda? Every day, we definitely meet our agenda, and whatever I train, I'm sure it will be very much clear, and I promise it will be very much clear. Did we meet our agenda for today's session? Yes, you now know about the concept of load balancer. You have experienced the concept of load balancer. You have learned how to create a load balancer, how to attach the EC2 machines to the load balancer, and we already have experienced the load balancer. We have simulated a failover scenarios about this load balancer also. What is the plan for the next session? My dear friends, I already have mentioned in my first class, there will be no sessions on Saturday and Sunday. There will be no sessions tomorrow and day after tomorrow. I strongly recommend for the participants who are not doing hands-on, please spend some time on Saturday and Sunday, do hands-on, catch up the concepts, whatever we have learned. The next session will be on Monday. The next session will be on Monday. And what's our plan for Monday session? We will be moving on to the next advanced concept of load balancer that is called as auto scaling. The next advanced concept of load balancer is auto scaling. When the traffic increases, let's say to avoid the downtime, you have created 2 EC2 machines. If both the EC2 machines are also not able to handle the traffic, the third EC2 machine should be created dynamically. When the traffic increases, at that point of time, the new hardware, new infrastructure should be created. At the same time, when the traffic decreases, the EC2 machine should be removed automatically. Automatic scaling and scale up and scale down. This is called as auto scaling. Continuation of load balancer is auto scaling. So we already have discussed about load balancer. Next related concept of load balance is auto scaling. That will be on Monday session at evening 5:30 p.m. So please stay tuned to do hands-on and do not miss Monday session where we'll be experiencing the concept of auto scaling. Auto scaling will be a little bit technical, typical when compared, not as easy as the previous examples. Okay, I hope you have enjoyed this training. See you tomorrow. Not tomorrow, I'm sorry. See you on Monday. Have a nice weekend, and see you on Monday where we'll discuss about load balance or auto scaling. Thank you very much. One more final call. One more final call before ending the session. Let's pick up any of it. Sparsh Agarwal, how are you doing, Sparsh? You are from which city?
Yeah, hi Sunil. How are you?
Yes, I'm doing well. How are you? And you are from which
Yeah,
location?
I'm good. I'm from Uttar Pradesh. Actually, I'm a third year student right now.
Oh
I
my
have
God.
zero work experience. Yeah, I have
Okay.
two questions. The first one is like whenever we create EC2 machine, so we create a key value pair. So if
Not
we
key
create,
value pair, not key value, it's a key pair.
yeah, sorry, key pair. So if we create different key pairs, what is the difference like when we create two EC2 machines? If we use the same key pair or if we use different key pairs, what is the difference
There's no
in that?
difference. In fact, if there are 100 EC2 machines, Sparsh,
Yes.
if assuming
Yeah.
there are 100 EC2 machines, okay, if you
Okay.
maintain different key pairs, how many key pairs will be there? 100 key pairs.
Yeah.
Managing 100 keepers is practically difficult to approach. Okay, practically in the real time, single keeper is used for multiple instances. Okay, so as we are
Okay.
beginners, I'm using separate keepers for clarity purpose. But we can also have, instead of selecting a new keeper, you can select an existing keeper and proceed with the launching the instance. Isn't it clear, Sparsh?
Yeah. Yeah. Clear.
Perfect. Yeah.
Second one, I request you, can you share these notepad files in the WhatsApp group?
The
So it will be,
recordings, live training is free. If you want the recordings and the notes as well as PowerPoint slides, you need to make a nominal payment of 999 rupees. Sparsh. If you
okay.
pay
Okay.
999 rupees, you get the recordings, you get the notes every day to day. Let's say class is completed by 6:30, right? By 7:30
Yeah.
or 8 o'clock, the recordings will be shared in your Google Drive. Okay.
Oh,
And it's a
okay.
lifetime access. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you
much.
all. I hope you have enjoyed the session. See you on Monday. Have a nice weekend where we will be discussing about the concept of auto scaling. Okay. Thank you very much. Bye, everybody.